I do anything here.
I expect this to be a little bit bumpy at moments, but be that as it may. Last time, Haku, he flung
Haku.
Yeah.
He flung his this thing around and knocked some of my dice out of their little dice thing.
Last time Haku rolled the first dice.
Yeah.
All of you went to dinner with Fleur's family. It was an interesting dinner where you got mildly and politely interrogated, shall we say. And Terwin tried to convince them to, like, sponsor him as a student at the Cerberus.
Let me see if I can remember what to use for this.
They didn't say no.
They also didn't say yes.
So you're saying there's a chance.
And then it was a delicious dinner with lots of food. And then you decided to take a side trip to the home of Fleur's missing fiance, where you searched his office fairly extensively and found a number of items that appear to be in code. One looked like it's probably some sort of logbook, just based on, like, the formatting and what you could figure out from looking at it initially. The rest was, think, hiding the recipe for the Philosopher's Stone in cookbooks. You have no idea what the rest of it is. But Ezri was very excited to take it back to the inn and begin the decoding process. And that, I believe, is where we left off.
So are we at the next morning?
It depends on whether you wanted to have any more conversation before you went to bed or not.
Don't remember. I didn't make a note of that.
What is this about going to bed when there's a mystery to solve in word form?
Right.
I wrote the names of the tailor shops down.
I have those. I also have.
I wrote down exactly the things Guild cares about.
I mean, that's fair. That's what you need to know, right? So yeah.
Willis is going to make a nest out of blankets on the bed and sleep.
Oh, she's not sleeping in this table.
I mean, she slept in the bed last night. It's the city.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
They don't really have.
You have food notes. Amazing. Of course the halfling has food notes.
Let's just say I have an appreciation for fine dining, considering I had nothing but road food growing up.
But yes, we can certainly fast forward to tomorrow morning, and all of you waking up. Though, is Ezri going to sleep, or is Ezri going to try to solve a mystery in word form?
I mean, she would probably stay up way later than she usually would trying to do that, just because it's very nostalgic.
Okay. So go ahead and roll me a intelligence check with proficiency.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ezri would be reasonably proficient in deciphering code, and I don't think there's a great, like, this is the check you should use for that.
Yeah.
But, like, character-wise, she would specifically know, have experience with that.
Alright, so that's the wrong character sheet.
That's what
Why are you
just
there?
general ability checks are good for.
Yep, but giving you proficiency because
Okay.
you would have it.
Because Colts.
Yeah, right? 23.
Okay. How late do you stay up working on this?
Probably until, like, the middle of the early morning, so, like...
Like 3 or 4 a.m. kind of, or
Yeah, like 4 a.m. probably.
okay. And which? So you have things that look like there's at least 2 different codes. There's the one that looks just from like formatting and your experience looks a little bit simpler, probably more of like some kind of logbook, but you don't know what it's logging, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you have several documents in what appears to be some other, at least one other code, that you have less to start from. Are you going to focus on one or the other, or are you going to try to move back and forth? Like, what is your...
She'll probably start with the ones that she has more, like, knowledge of, or the one that has more to work off of.
So you start with what looks like a logbook.
Mm-hmm.
And with a 23, you do make some progress. You confirm that, yes, this appears to be, for lack of a better word, some kind of, like, patrol log. Less like he was sent out on specific patrols, and more like record keeping of where he was planning to go, and maybe some notes about what he learned. You don't get through the whole, well, you don't get through the whole thing because it's a very long logbook, but you do get the beginnings of what the code is, and you confirm that, yes, this is something resembling like a patrol log. Do you start sort of what looks to be the end, or start towards the beginning?
She would probably have started at the beginning first, just to like get a sense of it, and once she realizes a little bit what this is, going from most recent.
Okay. So you, at the beginning, yes, so you confirm it's a logbook. There are notes about like going to the Mudtop Ward to look for information about, and then it tends to be things that you assume are code names, less of a code you can break, because it's just he picked a word to mean a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you can't easily tell what that thing is. Though you do see some that seem to be connected from like traditional Empire fairy tales is actually where some of his ideas pull from. And I can make you a list of some of what it might be later.
Okay.
But so you confirm what it is, then you flip to the end to try to figure out, well, he went missing. What was he doing before he went missing, right? And you see some notes at the end that say met, and I'm sorry, I did not come up with names here. Met blank.
Fantasy name generator, go!
Right.
That's a mood. That's a mood, I understand.
It is a mood. Actually, let me go to the fantasy name
Also, I
generator.
was like, hey, no judgment. I literally pull like all of my names from
Just
that.
just
So-
insert regular fairy tale name for code name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, he's using sort of fairy tale names. I haven't sat down and been like,
See, fairy tale brain me is like, I want to help, but I don't know the context. So I
well, and also we have not like
And-
there outside of this, we have not necessarily established what is in Empire fairy
Well, yeah.
tale.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Well, Empire fairy tales, yeah.
I mean, it could also
I'm
be
just like, we're on.
the seventh son. the, you know.
Met
Let me fix the overlay, because I thought I had
Haven
done that, and
Walker.
it didn't save, apparently.
in
Wait, what was the... Shit.
Haven Walker.
Haven Walker.
Met Haven Walker in the Mudtop ward. Suspect you think he basically is saying funny business here? Like, that's the gist of what he's saying. Suspect funny business on assembly experiments looking for more info going to walk the candles. And that is the last entry.
And
So,
what date was that? Like compared to now?
From what
Months?
Fleur has told you, that date was like right before he vanished.
Okay.
Compared to now, I'd have to talk to Bess about exactly when her fiance vanished.
Okay.
I mean, I hadn't figured out. Basically it was shortly right before she would have set out. So like,
right. So no, it's
how
not like,
long have we been adventuring? It's a little tiny bit longer than that, but not much probably.
right. So it's not like ages and ages ago.
Mm-hmm.
But so fairly recent, but not like yesterday, right?
Yeah.
He was making this entry, and it, based on what Fleur has said about her fiance disappearing, you would suspect that this was. She didn't give you an exact date, and she may not even know exactly when he's vanished. But this is right before, day or two before, probably.
Okay.
So whatever he was looking into, maybe it went wrong, maybe it's unrelated, you don't know, but it certainly time-wise fits together.
Okay. I know you said you hadn't come up with any of the like particular like details and stuff like that, but since she recognized that he was using fairy tales as like a thing, was there anything that she can like make a conjecture from as to what type of person or what this might be referring to, this Haven Walker?
So it's a little hard to tell. And when I say I didn't come up with details, I mean I didn't come up with like all the names and details.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to answer. I can certainly answer specific questions you have. And I picked Haven Walker from Fantasy Name Generator for a reason. The relation to Haven Walker seems, based on your understanding of source materials and your understanding of just... So the character comes from a tale that is sort of taught as a parable. And the character of Haven Walker is a traveling individual, shall we say, who at least attempts to provide succor and safety in a very dangerous situation. So you would assume that there is a positive association there, that it is a this individual, whoever they are not someone that he doesn't trust or have some level of faith in their motives in. On the other hand, Haven Walker is... So I'm going to make an analogy here.
Yay!
To the story of the kind man that they use in Fruits Basket.
Oh.
Haven Walker is also a character that has a tendency to give more of himself than is perhaps wise. So you don't know if that is an implication that he's trying to pull into this. But it certainly could be. It could be that this character is that this person, whoever they are, is both someone whose motives are trustworthy according to the writer of the notes, but who is willing, but may also be willing to sacrifice more than the writer thinks is a good idea, shall we say.
Okay.
And that's basically what you get from that note. That is the final entry. The other entries, like immediately before that, are, went to place, sometimes spoke to a person, but they're pretty bland and generic. This whole logbook leans on the bland and generic without a lot of details. And so any detail you can really glean from it, other than there was a person and there was a place and we were there, tends to come from associations with the history of the names used.
Okay. Darmok and Gelada Tanagro.
Right, exactly.
Yes!
Like, yes, it is.
Beautiful.
You have to be Jean-Luc Picard trying to figure out what this dude is saying.
Yep. Luckily we have people that might know a little bit better. Maybe.
And sorting through that and sort of you've broken the code in this book in the sense that you have the basic tools you need to decipher the entries. Deciphering each individual entry is still going to take some time. But with that 23, you have reached the point in your reading of this particular document that that means that you're not likely to, without passing out into the book because you're too tired to brain, you're not likely to need to make an extreme effort to decipher it. It's just time now, not mental effort, basically.
Okay. It's like old times, Grim.
Does anyone else have anything they wanted to do before they went to sleep?
I was going to wait for breakfast the next day to bring up various conversation topics potentially related to yesterday's dinner conversations, but
all right. Well, I will take that.
Nothing
as
at night.
No. Nobody has anything they wanted to do before bed.
I mean, I was gonna say, I feel like
forget how the rooming
anybody
situations were.
yeah, I don't remember.
It was.
If anybody asks for like,
I wanted to say
hey,
it
we
was the
found a
3 girls
thing,
and the 3
but
guys.
I say, yeah, I think
Yeah.
No,
or was
we
it-
doubled up here. It was Esri and Terwin, Cyrillus and Fleur and Guild and Westcott.
Okay,
yeah,
so
Oh.
Esri does not keep Cyrillus up. Well, actually, I only need 4 hours of sleep anyway.
I say, yeah. Cyril,
Yeah.
elf.
Sleep.
Elves.
Quote unquote.
Like, I totally wanted to help Esri, but like, it gets to the point where it's just kind of late, and
You're a halfling.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm
You
like,
give
I'm
in to your
asleep.
base desires more than anything else.
You
Yeah,
go
I'm
to you go to bread.
Food,
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah.
Top 2 priorities.
I also
I mean,
suspect
you're
that
not
Esri
wrong.
is very involved in deciphering this code, almost to the point of like
It's like hyper
not
focus.
even noticing your presence
Right.
in the room.
Just like
So
talking
you
to the
probably
book.
are like, okay, she's talking to her book. I don't think I can even say anything to get her
Mhm.
attention. I'm going to bed.
She's talking
Right.
in 3 other codes with a book.
Yeah.
Taco, time out. Stop it.
Like, try to get a word in at one point. It's just like, no.
I give up.
Anime
You know
glint.
what? Good night.
So the sun comes up. Everyone who is not Esri and actually slept like a normal person,
This is a normal person.
wakes up in the morning, well rested. Esri, do you stay in bed late to feel like you've gotten some sleep, or do you try to wake up with everybody else?
She'll probably try to wake up and probably fail at it because she has bad constitution. Just kind of napping.
So Terwin, Esri like starts to get up and then just sort of like falls back over, snoring.
Right. I'm probably up as soon as it starts getting light outside. I actually wake up kind of early, which is why I'm always so ready to go to bed. So I'll just make sure that there's like a breakfast that can sit out without going dry, squishy, or bad left out, so that eventually there's something available. But I'm going downstairs to avail myself of the full kitchen available.
Ezra just has a book over her face to keep the light out.
You can certainly find like the sort of bread and pastries that are okay sitting out for Esri to have breakfast whenever
Just
she
food.
wakes up.
Because the kitchen may not be open whenever it is that she's you know how it's like, oh yeah, sorry, you slept
You missed
in,
out on the continental
breakfast hasn't been served.
Yeah.
Right. And like there might be something like a few scraps of cereal left, so
Like
make
half
sure
a
that there's
bagel and
something.
an apple.
Right.
Yeah, you can definitely get like nothing super fancy, but there's
Very end of the
stuff that
red
keeps,
roof.
and it keeps well sitting out, and you're fine.
Okay.
And Esri can eat that. Everyone else, what do you do as you wake up?
Down, wake up, go down, food. I don't put much thought into that. I'm like that. I don't know.
It's morning, food. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy RPing mundane things. So
I don't know if anyone had anything specific they wanted to do in the morning, and sometimes people do.
I said what?
Oh, I'm trying to remember like what we were gonna do today as far as like what spells I should have prepared. Can't prepare a lot of them, but I may as well.
Honestly, I've kind of found
low-level
druid spells are not inherently interesting.
Yeah. Oh, that's anytime with both my paladin and my cleric, I'm like prepared spellcasters. I'm like, you eventually hit kind of a groove point where you're like, I'll change one or two things, but meh.
Yeah.
It's too much work.
You have your stable.
Yeah.
Do we have any plans specifically?
I
mean, I'm
maybe
carrying
go to
around
the
the
tailor?
circlet thing, but I don't know what to do about it.
What?
Were we gonna take the whole crew up to the mud top ward to look around, or?
Are we going back? Going back? I know we wanted to look into it more, but I don't think we actually planned how to do that.
I mean, I thought we were just going there.
Maybe we are. I don't know. Are we?
You
mean,
can
do
figure
we
that out
need-
over breakfast.
Do we need a plan
Let's
to get
figure that
in
out.
there?
So,
It's just the mud top ward.
Yeah.
Everyone except Esri gathers for breakfast. Let's go with
Right.
that.
But I mean, we've already kind of seen what there is to see, right? I mean,
We didn't go to the mud top ward, did we?
we
Guild
did.
and
Just
Westcott.
We did.
Guild and Westcott.
Yeah.
So the
Uh,
mark that found you and roped you into this investigation, did you get any other information off of them?
what?
Oh, me?
Yeah. This query would be directed towards
Yeah.
Guild and Westcott. More towards Westcott, since
Oh yeah, this is his mess.
His.
Oh right, there's another thing going on too.
Yeah.
That's what I was. I
Yeah,
was just
no.
like, the one that roped you into this thing was Fleur. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
No,
That's what I was like really confused for a second. I was
He
like,
got roped into another thing.
There are two
I
things
forgot about
it
that.
has to do with the Mud Top District.
Yeah.
both have references to the Mud Top ward, though you don't actually know about the reference to the Mud Top ward with your fiance, because Esri is
Still
Yeah, okay.
unconscious.
Well then, yeah, I guess that's why I thought we were going there, but I thought but that's after Esri would have told
Right.
us that. So at this
I'm
point,
trying to remember because I didn't.
I mean, I remember well enough. I'm just gonna say it out of character because I remember
Yeah.
Mhm.
there we
Yes, there were-
found those cracks,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and like Guild actually got into one and pulled out
And
that
that's where we
circlet
got the
looking thing,
circlet. Yeah.
and
Mhm.
that's in theory what's causing these people in the Mud Top ward to fall comatose. Highly suspect assembly involvement. Don't know what to do about that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
Guild is
think-
carrying around one of these circlets.
Yep. Cool. It's totally a good idea.
Oh.
It's
Okay.
in the same bag as the bag of
Yeah.
tricks.
But it's not in the
Yeah,
bag
I
of
think-
tricks.
no, it's not in the bag of tricks.
What happens if you put it in the bag of tricks?
I would not recommend trying putting a magical item inside of another magical item that is not specifically designed to hold things.
What would happen?
Well,
I like your curious spirit, but
Maybe
I
not
don't
at
think
the
we have
breakfast
the
table.
appropriate.
possibly not
But
the astral seed.
Yes,
No,
it is not a respectful thing to interrupt breakfast with magical experimentations.
So what happened? So you got stopped by someone that Westcott had encountered before.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yes.
Very nice way to put it.
He basically, Haku, leave it.
Kind of like that. Westcott, leave it. Leave it. Go find it.
I brought a box of clay in earlier, and Haku is trying to eat the box.
Ruh-roh.
Which, like, he's not going to eat the clay, but I still don't want him to eat the box.
Eat the
So
box.
let me
Yeah,
move
it's
the
still not good
box
for him to eat the
where
box.
He's not able to get to it real quick. Okay. He'd left it alone all day, and then he just now has decided this box looks delicious. So you ran into her, or she decided you were going to help.
Yep. This
I have
seems to
that
be a
voluntold.
trend with women in his life.
You ultimately agreed, mostly possibly because she might stab you if you didn't.
Again, a reoccurring trend with the women in his life.
And you went up to the mud top ward with her, and examined a number of sites that are the yellow squares on the map.
We went to all of them. I'm pretty sure. At
Yeah,
least
I think
four.
we
I think
we
went
like
to all
checked
of
them out to see if they all had the
Mm.
looked like they all had the circlets at them.
And they
Yeah,
did.
they all had the similar setup. You only retrieved one circlet from them. People have been either just vanishing, which would probably raise fewer eyebrows in the mud trap ward, or falling into strange comas. That you assume are triggered by these circlets, which Terwin cast Identify on the circlet, and at least I believe it was Terwin who did that. And
I think
determined
Esri cast. I think I was going for a more mundane inspection. I would have gotten around to
Yes.
it, but I think people
One
were
of
not
you, one
appreciative of my particular investigation style.
one of the wizards cast Identify. And determined that this circlet appears to be connected to some sort of like
Dreamscape
pocket
thing.
plane, demi-plane thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Right.
Is
That
sort of a
was-
plane of dreams.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
You know, I'm having a thought. Maybe we should go back and see if whoever was at the place we found this thing woke up when it's not there. Been a couple days,
I
right?
think that's not a bad idea.
That's
I
been
mean,
a couple days.
Yeah, it has. So, be worth
I
checking
mean,
out.
the prevailing opinion is this is like, at least within the group, and I'm like slowly lowering my voice because I don't want to draw any attention.
Mhm.
Something to do with the Cerberus assembly.
Yeah.
And
That way.
right. And what was Rickman's job?
He was a. I'm trying to remember, and it's been so long. If I remember, but I'm like, how much does Fleur actually know? I'm
Yeah,
trying to
he
remember
knew
if she
how
actually
much
even
Fleur
knows
would
his
know.
title. I feel like we figured out probably what his title was, but I
Yeah.
don't think she knows exactly.
No, she probably knows that he works. Probably not. She probably knows that he works for the king, and
Yeah.
his work is at least
Yeah,
spy adjacent.
I feel like she would probably know it as more of a he's an investigator of sorts that works privately for the king.
Yeah.
Due to that, I don't really know much. I mean, when you work for the king, you're not really supposed to tell everybody all of your job details. Like,
Yeah.
the king doesn't
That's
really
fair,
like his
yeah.
business being everybody's business. So I don't know exactly. I know he didn't always deal with nice folk. You know,
Mhm.
sometimes it would be dangerous, but I mean, yeah, he's really smart, and yeah, he's not quite just an investigator, but I feel like that's the best way I can describe it from what I know.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm sure there's a name for it, but he never really told me what that is.
I mean, the you'd think that if their job is an investigator and they go missing, all signs point to the thing that they were most recently investigating as being the
Hey!
cause of their going missing.
Thank you
Well,
so much.
yes, that's
How you doing, nerd?
That is why we figured
Good to
that
see you.
looking at his
I was being a
place of
fucking
work,
nerd.
his office,
That's
whatever,
literally what I
a
was
good
just
idea,
being
because, like I said, he didn't really talk about it
in
much,
character.
which
and out.
makes it hard to track you down when you don't tell anybody, you know, what you're doing ever. But
Do you know how long ago he went missing? Because it would just be so
the
super
day he went
convenient.
missing, basically, of like he normally comes back and he's not back today.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Okay.
I don't know as a player. Fleur knows, like, and that because literally that day, yeah, is when she was like, okay, we're doing something, like,
Yeah.
so
Because-
whatever time frame he would have normally come back in, basically he didn't, or he didn't tell her when he was leaving, like he would have had it been like a business trip. So you know,
I mean, it might be too convenient, but you know, and this is probably where I would probably throw out some sort of like weird, obscure circus proverb about coincidences not really being coincidences. I just didn't, ever write a bunch of them down. But if an investigator goes missing and there's a bunch of weird magic stuff happening, I'm just throwing it out there.
I mean, I never said it wasn't possible.
Two marks with one con kind of thing.
Part of the part of why I'm here, well, I mean, I'm here because this is also my home, but here with you guys is because, yes, I am. The goal is to figure out what it is, and I don't expect it to be normal because he's really good at his job. So whatever it was, if somebody either got the drop on him or something went wrong, either way, that usually means probably really bad.
Yeah,
I'm conked out right now because
Because it's kind of his
my
job
wizard pulled
to
an
get
all-nighter.
the drop on things. So
right. If he is the authority that we would go to if there's something hinky going on, and he's been removed from the picture,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
that makes me think that we don't have an authority that we can rely on. I mean, not that I want to.
If we
I
had
say
an
look
authority
over
we
at
could
Gildan
rely
Westcott.
on, I wouldn't be here doing this myself.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point.
So
I don't trust anybody else with this because, yes, this would normally be his job. So,
Westcott,
Yeah.
she say anything about anyone else looking into this?
I don't think so.
What
I don't
she
remember.
what she told you was
Like they
she
tried to
basically-
get official involvement, and they were like, "Nah."
Yeah, from what she told you, there wasn't really any official interest, and she put that down to, and this was before you found the circlet and blah blah
Mhm.
blah, but she put that down to the powers that be not really caring what happens in the Mud Top Ward. It's
Mhm.
where people of
Yeah.
the lowest lows go, and no one of any power really pays attention to it.
Mhm.
I mean, so do you mention that again or whatever? Because I feel like
Yeah.
if it's a like,
I say, yeah. If Gildan asked that,
assuming-
yeah, I'd mention.
I'm
yeah.
assuming that is kind of in the like, if she had mentioned to anybody else looking into this, that other person potentially might have been Rickman. I'm assuming is what the implication of that was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I feel like to that Fleur would say, I mean, if he was doing his job right, nobody is supposed to know
Nobody would
usually when
know.
he does these things. So
I mean,
it's possible. I mean, it's also possible that I mean, he works for the king. The king might just not care. But if the king did care and did
Or-
send him to look into it, I don't know that anybody would necessarily know either.
No. Yeah. I would say if this is someone in the assembly messing around in the Mud Top Ward, I kind of imagine the king would care about that if someone if it was happening without his say so.
Would Fleur know, Jerusha, like the assembly's involvement? Would that be a thing? Like again, Fleur doesn't know mission details of his jobs a lot of the time, but I feel like dealing with just politics in general and stuff is like the assembly a thing that that might. I mean,
the assembly,
but like
the assembly would
is that
definitely be
reasonable?
something. Behavior of the assembly is definitely something that the king would be interested in, and that would be within the scope of
Rickman's
job
Okay.
description.
Yeah, because I was going to say Fleur will agree with that kind of like.
It's also worth noting that Rickman, based on your understanding, he worked for the king, but that didn't mean the king always sent him on exactly what his missions were.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Rickman would do a lot of investigating without the king knowing until he found something.
It was often more of a king would be like, "Hey, I heard about this plot thing. Go look into it," and it was usually vague. And Rickman did a lot of the more detailed work.
Yes,
himself.
exactly.
Yes.
So it's entirely possible that the king would be interested, but the king might not even know the assembly might be involved if the assembly is involved because it hadn't gotten to that point yet where Rickman let him know. So it's just sort of hard to say. But yes, he would care. The king would care about the behavior of the assembly.
Okay.
There is huge, and Fleur would be very well aware of this, there is a very large political push and pull between the king and the assembly, and they're constantly sort of vying for power from each other.
Okay. So then, knowing that, Fleur would just kind of chime in of, I mean, the king really doesn't like the assembly. So I feel like if he thought this, he heard something weird's going on, and if it's a thing that he's like, hey, this might be the assembly, it would make sense that he might ask Rickman to look into it to, even just
Go
to
look at this
confirm whether or
quiet
not it
thing.
is, because being the king, you don't want to like send your army in if it's not, because then you're like declaring war on the assembly without needing to, and that's just a mess that nobody needs.
Basically, what you're saying is
so it's
we need to keep
possible.
following this.
I mean, so far it's the best lead I've got. I feel like.
Well,
I mean, yeah, he investigates weird things. It's whatever catches the king's attention, and if this is something, I mean, if this is where he went missing or whatever, then there's good reason for it to catch the king's attention if it's able to catch him off guard enough, or something.
One more question, though. I mean, is it? I don't know this place very well, but I'm getting the idea that maybe it's not the best idea for all of us to go making a parade of ourselves heading down there.
Probably.
Mud top ward?
I mean, we'd attract attention if we all
Have
trooped
you
into the mud
met
top ward. We stick out like a sore thumb.
Fleur would know. I'm like, would it attract attention?
Unless all of you like put on ratty clothes and made yourselves look like you were and if Fleur doesn't know this, Westcott certainly does. Like Fleur in her uniform especially would draw a lot of attention.
Okay, so going like we look now would draw attention, but a large group on its own like would not necessarily.
The group heading in, as long as you were dressed,
as long as we look
more circumspectly, would probably be fine. But yes, as you are now, and as identifiable as Fleur is, it would be a challenge to not attract attention.
I forget. Do we have a cart or something?
You did have a cart, yes. You bought a cart in Hupperduke.
I mean, I'm sure Fleur has a change of clothes or something, or she could get something not her uniform. Because I feel like if that's the issue, more of like, if we just need to look the part. I'm also thinking like if we go in with like a cart, like some of us smaller ones could even just kind of like chill in the
I've
cart.
got a disguise kit, so I can.
Yeah, we all know you
can make us look
yourself.
Like. I mean, I can also make you look like not yourself.
I think you're the one that is...
Now I really want to see Fleur makeover montage courtesy of Westcott.
Please!
That's a hilarious idea.
Beautiful.
We could also split up.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I am not used to being the one less concerned about standing out. It's a nice change.
I mean, I don't know. It's the mud top ward. We would attract attention if we go in all flashy, but nobody really cares that much about it. So as long as we look like we belong there, I don't think anybody's gonna think twice. Like, nobody really cares about the mud top ward. As horrible as that sounds.
Wouldn't mind going back. I mean, I've seen the place. I know what I'm looking for.
Yeah. And I think it is a good idea to check back with whichever household that was that we took the circlet from, see if anything's changed.
Did you found evidence of others, but you didn't find other circlets?
They were buried back notes. They were sort of wedged into these spaces that were kind of hard to get them out of.
Right.
So there may well be other circlets wedged in there. Guild just managed to locate and extract one. You don't know.
I found them in the other places.
Yeah, well,
I think we decided we didn't want to take the risk of pulling all of them out and attracting attention.
I think in a couple places you noticed the identical split and just assumed they were there, but you found the hallmarks of them in all the places and saw at least a couple.
I do have locate object prepared, so if we want to just make, I can also just kind of see if there's anywhere we missed, if anything else pops up. But
Westcott radar.
Yeah. I have locate object and detect magic prepared today, so I can just be a magical radar.
So yeah, you can absolutely dress yourselves up in a way that wouldn't attract a ton of attention, and head up to the Mud Top Ward and investigate.
If there is fruit involved in breakfast, I'm just shoving some in my pockets before we go.
There is absolutely fruit available for breakfast.
Yeah.
This inn has a pretty decent array of stuff. So, in general, for meals, you can get at least some version of most things, most basic things. All right. Well, sounds like you're finishing up breakfast. Esri, are you going to sleep until you actually get a long rest, or are you going to get up and be very tired at some point? This is a question for you.
The answer is be very tired.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Oh. The
Bingo.
answer was be very tired.
Okay.
I rolled the check.
So I think as breakfast is wrapping up, and it's probably, getting to mid-morning at this point, with everybody getting up and this whole conversation and this discussion, Esri comes stumbling down the stairs, looking extremely tired.
Good morning.
Did you sleep at all, Esri?
A little bit. But I got some good information.
Well, I mean, that's good.
You should
but
sleep more if
Sleep
you're
is also
sick.
important.
Yeah.
It's not
I feel
yeah,
like
well,
you,
exactly
in
sickness.
particular, not sleeping is not a great idea.
It's going to happen either way. But I did figure out a little bit of what we were talking about. Probably not good in the open, but if we have time, we can explain it up in one of the rooms.
Or we can hop in the cart and just speak quietly with the background din of the city, disguising any clandestine conversations we're going to have.
Are we going someplace in particular now? What did I miss?
We were gonna disguise ourselves, I think, as poor
Yep.
people, and
I'm gonna.
yes, disguising ourselves as poor people, oblivious to the fact that
Yeah.
might actually be
Most
true
of
about
us
half of
are
the party.
So I will disguise myself as a poor person.
Yes, that's what she says, and no, it doesn't phase her. That really probably only applies to her.
Right.
A slow head tilt.
Camera.
And we are gonna try and, I guess, go look into the Mud Top Ward.
Oh,
We're thinking it whatever Guild and Westcott were looking into, they're thinking perhaps it was the type of thing that Rickman might have also been looking into. So, I mean, that's so far all we got to go on. But
that's actually really good. That works perfectly. I'll explain when we go.
oh, okay.
Before we go, or right as we're about to go, I am just going to drop my cloak of many fashions just directly on top of Flair's head.
Oh, what did that do?
Hold on, I'm going to just pull the item description for you.
Fun.
Where is it? I am going to copy it into Discord for you. But basically, it's just a bonus action to look like a shitty cloak, or a fancy cloak, or
good.
anything.
Nice.
And it is not attunement. So you just put it on and you can look shabby. I have disguise self.
I like to imagine also that if it's your cloak, unless it like magically changes size, it just completely covers everything that Flair's wearing, and it's great. It's
You could very easily.
She will ride in the back of the car just with this.
No, when I say dropped it on top of her head, I mean literally over her entire head.
and it's a very amusing mental image of her just doing the little like anime ghost thing for a while of like how to get out of it.
Just pushing her along by the back.
Yep.
All right.
Excellent. I love it.
So you're going and getting the cart, and you're heading towards the Mud Top Ward. with Fleur at least semi-disguised. I don't know if you really want to do Westcott disguises Fleur, or if we're just dumping a cloak on.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know that
Either one is
actually we're gonna
acceptable.
montage it unless Maggie really wants to. It's
I mean,
more
I
just
can.
Okay.
Yasri
well,
will at
we
least
can-
take off her over thing that looks like actual stars out of magic. So
Somebody just throw dirt in Fleur's face and it'll be funny. And then
Westcott, just to figure out, along with the cloak, how well you managed to make Fleur look like a poor person. Roll me a check for your disguise kit.
All right. Is that a performance sleight of like
Yeah.
It's-
Performance.
sleight of hand?
Well, it would be like the
Performance
disguise kit is the
dexterity.
proficiency, right?
Yeah, I have proficiency with the disguise kits, and I have a disguise
be
kit.
like a dexterity type
But that
thing.
doesn't tell me what I'm. Yeah, is it like dexterity or
Right.
charisma? What am I rolling?
I would say
I've seen it
that
done both
because
ways.
you are disguising somebody else, it is
Yeah.
dexterity.
Dexterity.
that
If you
makes
are
sense. Yeah.
disguising yourself, you can choose
be-
charisma because part of what you're playing into this is your
Is-
ability to play that off.
Okay.
But
This is
Fleur
how do
does
I
not
make
have
Fleur
your
look
charisma.
not rich?
Not
Yeah.
okay. That's good. That is. That 22.
Nice.
Yeah,
Fleur,
16
you
plus
look
6.
poor.
I feel like she'll ask Cyrillus, like, do you have like a flower or a leaf or something? We
Oh,
can
I was
take
gonna
a-"
say, is Cyrillus watches what they're doing and is like, oh, they're camouflaging. She will start taking like half the grass out of her own hair and sticking it in the Fleur.
Like, Fleur will, like,
Beautiful.
really ask her for that of like, realizing that her big bow and her perfectly curled ponytail probably aren't helping this, so good. Yes.
It's like, I know how to
Please
do
mess
this.
up
I'm
her
gonna
hair.
help.
Cyrillus is so precious.
Trills' time has come.
Cyrillus and Westcott team up to disguise
Do I
Fleur.
get to roll with advantage then?
You can roll with
I mean,
advantage.
I already
Yes.
I
succeeded.
mean, you already
but
rolled
You
it,
should.
yeah.
That's
But-
totally a help action.
Nope. Yeah. 22. I was
22.
like, just in case
Okay.
I roll like a natural 20 or something.
Right, in which case Fleur just like doesn't even look like herself at all.
Yeah.
anymore.
You make her look like a man.
You guys can tell this is Fleur, and like her Fleur's brother could probably tell it was Fleur, or like her family could. Anyone who is not very close to Fleur is
Would not guess she's a Steel Fury.
and would not guess she has like a penny. She looks rough.
You know, I would imagine your parents wouldn't actually recognize you because they would never think that their daughter would ever.
I mean, they
Not
would
look.
probably have to look really hard, and like, if I told them it was me, I'm sure they would
Yeah.
be like, "Oh, of course it is." But yeah, watching me walk down the street, I don't think they would think, what is Fleur doing looking like a mess? So good job, Westcott.
Thank you.
The
Just a
last
little
thing.
bow.
Cyrillus will just kind of like tug on Fleur's arm,
Oh,
Yes, sir.
Aw.
and it's just kind of waiting expectantly.
What?
she
She
wants.
also helped.
What?
What's gonna be
Or
like?
let's
She also helped.
Oh, sorry. I mean, yes, thank you, Cyrillus. Yes, I don't know how to make my hair not pretty, so thank you. Not that your hair is not pretty. Your hair is very cute.
She just smiles.
That's what I'm looking for, you know.
Westcott's just gonna reach over and just like
Honestly.
ruffle the top of Cyrillus's head.
I just know how to make my hair look not like neat and
I
clean.
think
and
maybe
tidy.
you should stop
That.
talking, Fleur.
Hey, my charisma is high, dang it! People love me. I feel like that would be drunk Fleur.
Very
People love me.
Fleur is screaming about.
That's
people
because
love
you pay them.
her. Yeah. Your household
Fleur-
staff do
And now
not
I'm
count.
just like, oh man, if we ever actually get Fleur drunk, I'm just like picturing that happening and then her having an existential crisis of people only like her because she pays them, and she's just like,
Um,
Oh, God.
I think you said one more thing.
"Ah."
Spirals.
Oh.
About 15 minutes out from when we would actually reach the mud top, I'm just gonna disguise self.
Okay.
Human, little dirty. Same look, brown skin, a little bit dirty, just scruffy in the just style of clothes.
Great. Okay. So you get the cart and you head by cart towards the mud top ward. I think Esri was going to explain what she found while you traveled.
So at least from what we Grim and I could discern, that logbook seemed to be about his patrols, and he seemed to use a lot of his own version of code based on fairy tales. But apparently his last entry was about meeting someone called Havenwalker, which I don't know if you know the stories, Fleur, but...
I'm assuming, but I don't know, does she?
She would...
Is that a...
I mean, roll a history check for me, but it's not a high check.
Yeah. What is her history? Oh, look at that. She knows things.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where's my dice? There we go. Oh, 23.
Yes.
Hey.
You definitely know that story.
Okay. So Fleur will just nod, kind of, be like,
So, if you know anyone, any friends of his, maybe from Mud Top or anyone he talked about that he might have considered...
friends, but,
someone that he considered trustworthy?
He really didn't talk about his work a lot.
Wasn't sure if it might have maybe not been a work thing entirely.
Would I don't know.
I was saying, would Westcott have any idea of who might?
Westcott,
like having been to the mud top ward before, would that sound like any?
Roll me an insight check.
Actually, no, his insight's not bad. That's a natural 20 for a 27.
Woo!
So, having been to the mud top ward, you do not think that this person is from the mud top ward. So, you suspect, and this is partially tied to the fact that the character in the parable is a traveler. You suspect that they just met in the mud top ward. It is not a resident of the mud top ward. You don't know for sure who it is because if it's not someone from Rexentrum, it could be literally anyone in the Empire.
Yeah.
So even your natural 20 on insight is not going to magically determine this, but it does tell you that yes, this person is almost certainly not actually a resident. This is a contact, and may even bring information from other places entirely as well.
Yeah. I was considering more the idea of, do they know of anyone also who would be considered like an altruist that's come through and has like given a lot in the mud top ward specifically, or anything like that?
That's a little tricky. There, most of the stories you hear about about like people doing good in the mud top ward are healers. It is a area of the city that often is rife with disease and illness because there's like no running water. It's a really unclean place. So most of the people who come through the mud top ward that you would be aware of, and who like you hear people sing the praises of, are doctors, healers, people like that. Westcott.
Oh, Pat Des, thank you so much for the host.
And Fleur, if you want to roll me insight too, just to see if you can make any connections using like Rickman.
Yeah, if he would have talked about anything. What is this? What roll am I making?
Insight. 17. I mean, unless you want me to roll again.
No, you
Huh?
you rolled a 23 on insight, right, Westcott?
27 is what I rolled the
27.
first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I was crossing things. 27. You didn't need to re-roll. Fleur rolled
Okay.
a
15.
what? 15. Okay. This was I was trying to figure out what Fleur could contribute to
Yeah.
this information, not a.
Mm-hmm.
It would
Yeah,
need to be
I
like
mean,
a
yeah,
code
it's
roll.
it's possible if it was
Yeah.
a
Anyway,
contact or somebody he knew that she would have heard of it, but I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah,
And-
Fleur, you're not sure. You don't know of
Yeah.
anyone specifically.
Because I think I'm mentioned that, like, I think Westcott would have, like, that probably would have been the one time Westcott did, like, actual medicine stuff, was occasionally helping out in the Mud Top ward, just because they have, like, literally nothing, and he's like, well, I'm not a completely terrible person.
Yeah, and as I recall, it was also a big reason why you, along with
Why that, yeah.
stab me, you guys decided to go and look into this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like part of why she approached him in the first place was
right. She's like, I don't like you very much, but I actually do
But you
think
do
you might do something here.
Yeah.
So you've heard whispers of folks coming in and out. Mostly you've only heard about the folks who have done specific things, like, treated patients, saved lives, that sort of thing. But there are whispers of people traveling in, and like a man that travels in sometimes and brings supplies. But even though you've spent some time in the ward, you don't know who it is.
Don't know a name or anything. Okay.
Yeah, this is like you've only heard it because you treated patients. Like,
yeah,
you would not even have heard whispers if there weren't patients who trusted you, because the people who he's helped and brought things for don't want anyone to know who he is, because they don't want that to stop.
Yeah. So yeah, I will mention that for sure. Like, there is someone that comes into the Mud Top ward occasionally and brings supplies, stuff like that. I don't know the name.
I mean, but if they're a good person, that would match with the fable, right? So
it's a start. It's a lead.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to contact them. No idea how to find them.
And
maybe if you look pathetic enough, they'll show up.
Let's start. And
I mean, you did a pretty good job on Fleur.
How do you
That is
look
true.
pathetic?
Oh.
Don't worry about it. You got it, Cyrillus.
I could. We could get so much.
No,
nope,
I feel like
nope.
Gil just reaches over and puts a hand over Westcott's mouth before he can finish that.
She could do the big, like, the
No.
sad eyes, and it would just.
You're not wrong, but I don't think this is the time. Later.
Me?
Shelve that for later.
No, Cyrillus.
When you make other people feel sad just by the way you look, that's when you know that you're feeling pathetic. That you
It wouldn't even have to
You
say
got it.
anything.
No.
Just look at them with
There's
those
a
big
difference
eyes.
there. Are you talking about pitiful or pathetic? Because pathetic just is lame.
Both.
Pitiful is where, like, people feel sorry for you. Pathetic is just like, wow, you're a loser. Like,
It
there's
can
a
be
difference.
All right.
Fleur has very specific opinions of what words mean.
I know, that's why I was like,
Cyrillus is very intently listening, but at the same time, I was like, this is going back and forth.
We're not here to have our.
That is something
use
to
our
say for later.
our adorable elven friend to grift people out of money.
As this debate continues, oh, go ahead.
I was
Not yet.
was just kind of pulling. Like, either way, he was at least looking to meet that person there, and he said something. Where was it? And she pulls out her own notes and read. Suspect funny business and assembly experiments. Looking for more info. Going to walk the candles. And that was
Versus
it.
what
He
you were
went to the
thinking.
candles and he did mention the assembly, right? That's what you guys were wondering
Yeah.
if it might be. So I think we
this-
might be onto something then. Yeah.
I think we definitely are.
It sounds like the assembly did come up in his research.
that this whole situation reeks of assembly funny business.
I mean, the assembly surely wouldn't experiment with extraplanar magic that has strange effects on the populace, would they?
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
Yeah.
Even I can tell that was
Because
pretty sarcastic.
Because some of them absolutely would.
Yeah, I feel like even Fleur is like, you realize this is the assembly you're talking
I
about?
really hope you're
Like,
being
that's
sarcastic, but I
not
don't
really-
think
Inside
you are,
check.
'cause
Yeah.
I think as we just spend enough time wandering with Terwin to know when he's being fucking sarcastic.
23.
Terwin, are you being sarcastic?
I am 100% being sarcastic.
Yeah,
is.
the concern for like, are you an idiot or are you sarcastic?
See,
Wait.
that is how you be pathetic.
Is it?
You all thought I was an idiot. That's pathetic, right?
Not. No, we thought you were an idiot.
That's just unfortunate, Mr. Terwin.
We didn't think you
I
were
think
pathetic.
you're
We thought-
Terwin.
Well, at least we know he isn't a doppelganger.
I just, with Fleur's response,
Yeah.
I'm like, is it? My brain instantly flashed to, oh gosh, it was Elizabeth. I want to say it's Elizabeth Bennett. I don't know that that's actually the right name though, but the announcer people from Pitch Perfect, that duo. If you've ever seen that movie,
Elizabeth Banks.
Elizabeth
Yeah.
Banks. Thank you. I was like, it's a B. I didn't think it was Bennett. I was like, that's
Elizabeth
Prejudice.
Bennett
Like,
is
that's
the
Pride and
main character
Prejudice,
of Pride and
yeah.
Prejudice.
Yeah, that's why I was like, no, it's
Very
not
different.
that. Elizabeth
Yeah.
Banks, and I totally forget who the guy is, but they're running commentary throughout the whole thing where he says some like remark, and she just looks in and she's like, "Is it though?" Like, don't think you're right. Just throughout the entire movie. Anyway, I just got that mental image of the two halflings being like, "Derry."
That is a very Terwin character.
Right?
Yeah.
Little, just a little.
Oh my gosh.
So as this conversation
Yeah.
goes on, you make your way to the Mudtop ward. No one really pays you much mind. You all sort of don't look particularly like fancy, and no one really cares much who goes to the Mudtop ward unless it's someone important, and then they're confused. So you make your way to the Mudtop ward, and do you guys head to one of the locations that you searched before, or
Should we
Yeah,
start
do we
with
wanna
the?
start with the one where we took the circlet to
Mhm.
see if there's been a change.
okay?
Yeah.
So the one where you took the circlet was, hold on, I need to pull up the right note. I believe,
It's the first one we went to.
yes, I just want to make sure I remember what was, who was there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not that, why?
Who's on first?
There it is. Okay. Okay, there was a woman there
Yeah.
in a coma. And you head in, and everyone who hasn't been here before, it's a house, sort of.
It's a shack.
House.
Yeah. It's like half
Yeah,
the house.
It has somewhat of a ceiling and somewhat of walls, and it exists.
It exists.
I mean, Cyrillus isn't judging.
Yeah, no, Cyrillus probably doesn't care, but Fleur might be a little bit
Fleur's
like,
like,
wow.
Yeah, like this? I don't sorry for them.
Have you seen
Anyway,
this?
nobody comes here now, but
Yeah, have you seen this whole place? Not everyone can be you, Flare.
well, I mean, I know that, but I mean, well, we don't really. People don't often have reason to come here. Clearly, yeah. Anyways,
So do you like knock on the sort of door, or do you just wander in? Like, how do you...
Knock and wander in.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we'll knock first.
You knock and just sort of head in after knocking, and there is a woman here. She is awake, and it's the same woman you saw before. She's still abed, and she looks pretty rough, but she is conscious. She looks up and is like, "Oh, can I help you?"
Yeah, well, yes, we were sort of here to see if we can help you. It's good to see you're awake.
Oh,
Just coming to.
And she looks at you. Are you the one who came here? I think Lila mentioned somebody came by.
Yes, I'm a doctor. She asked me to come take a look.
Haku, I need you to stop jumping on me.
Oh.
He is. So he had an upset stomach this morning, and I think now he is like, he's feeling better, and so his energy is just like nutso. Your other animal. So, oh well, thank you. I guess I'm all right. And she looks around at like everybody else. Like, there are a lot of you. Were you just checking in? Did you want something?
Mostly just checking in, see if any changes, any.
Well, I'm awake.
See how you're doing.
They told me I was. They called it a coma, I think.
Yes.
Do you remember anything?
Oh, she paused. You're not gonna. I don't know if you're gonna believe me.
You might be surprised.
Try me.
Takes out notebook and gets ready and just kind of.
So there was. I don't know. I guess I was here, so I couldn't have been there. Maybe it was a dream. I don't know. I've never been in a coma. But I was in this place, and it had. Okay, this is going to be really weird. There were talking cats.
Okay.
Gorillas just nods.
Makes sense.
Right?
all the best places do, right?
So I mean, there were bad things too, but the cats were okay. They found me. They didn't know why I was there. They said they'd found some others too. They kept saying. I've heard a saying like the royal we. You know, like they when you refer to yourself as we.
Yeah.
They talked like that. It was really strange. I don't know. I kind of got the sense that they were talking about themselves as like
a collective,
like a hive mind.
What's a hive mind?
There are several types of creatures that are connected and then all speak as one, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, that sounds right. I mean, they had personalities, so like they weren't, sharing a brain. She pauses and thinks about it for a moment. But they definitely sort of spoke as a unit a lot of the time. They led me to this strange woman. They said I wasn't supposed to be there, but they didn't know why I was there. And that it was dangerous. And it was dangerous. Like, I hid from some really weird things a few times, and I don't know. I think if they hadn't found me, I might have died because, I mean, if it was a dream, I guess I couldn't die. I don't know. Can you die in dreams?
I mean, jury's still out on that one.
Okay, well, I'm glad I didn't die because I wouldn't. I mean, she pauses and she looks around. I don't know.
Better than. Oh god. Wow. When your life is so shitty.
What but no, I am glad I didn't die and test that theory. But they called her grandmother. She was an older woman, sort of hunched over, I think. And she was very nice. Well, nice isn't the right word. She wasn't mean. She was a little harsh, but like, you know when someone is like really strict but means well?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was her.
I know.
And she helped me find. It was like a glowy hole, and I walked through, and then awake. And now I'm here.
Did you meet anyone else while you were dreaming?
I mean, there were some monsters that I hid from, and there were the talking cats. They said they'd found some other people. I don't know if they meant like, but I didn't know. I didn't meet anybody. I don't know if they meant like right then or, you know, over time. I mean, it was a dream, so there probably wasn't anyone to meet. I think.
Yes, a better question might be, before you fell asleep, did anyone give you anything out of the ordinary, or did anything happen strange?
Strange visitors?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I came home pretty late. I was trying to scrounge for some food. It was, you know,
yeah.
Came home pretty late and just sort of went to sleep, and
didn't see anyone in the neighborhood before that at all. That seemed.
I mean,
out of
no,
place.
No one that didn't look like they belonged. I wasn't really looking for that though, so.
Fair enough. Well, I'm glad you're doing better.
Wait, so what was the item? What exactly was the item that identified?
The item you identified. I think I sent the info to you and or Brendan. At varying points.
Circle it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have it.
Oh, can I?
I'm gonna give it to me, but.
Oh, you did send something. Okay.
Kristen, what was it?
Can I walk back over to where I had found that crack and just see if it seems that
still
it's
there?
still there?
So you walk back over, and you look for the crack, and there is still a crack. But it's not quite as.
Oh, it's a ring.
Pronounced.
There you go.
It's almost like you know that floors can't grow over things, but it almost feels like the floor just sort of reformed over part of it. It's a bit odd. So the circlet, what I sent to Brendan is, it's conjuration magic. It has with the effect of opening a rift between the material plane and like a pocket plane that appears to be connected to dreams. There is a trigger command that I am not even going to attempt to pronounce because it's a weird, weird word. And Terwin does not recognize the language that it came from. Once it's triggered, it's dormant until the correct conditions are present for the rift to open, and then it needs to be reset to work again.
Okay. Oh, so this is slightly different than what you gave me then?
Is it? What did I give you? Because
you gave me the
thought
Ring
I
of
had...
Dreams. It was a ring.
I mean, ring circlet. It's the same idea. It's not a like finger ring. It's a bigger ring.
You didn't give me any.
Triggers. Yeah, I think Terwin actually cast the identify spell, which is why I gave him the more detail.
Yeah.
I think that's what
okay.
happened.
I did find that information actually just as you were reading it. I had keywords to search for in our conversation. But that's all I have.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I sent what I meant to send to you, Aaron. I sent to Brendan. But what it's the Ring of Dreams. It doesn't have a name, so like whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
It's not like a legend lore item with a name, right?
All right.
You didn't cast legend lore, so you don't know of like a formal, if it has a formal
you can't
name.
do that.
But what I sent Brendan was just a bit more detailed than what I sent you. I just looked at what I sent you, and it's pretty much the same. It's just the less detailed version.
Okay. So
I will copy what I sent Brendan to you, so you have it.
And so she basically just said no one had given her a ring or a circlet or anything like that, and she doesn't remember anything like given to her. Thank you.
Yeah, so nothing was given to her, and based on where Guild found it, because he did tell you when he brought it back that he found it like in the floor. It seems unlikely that it was handed to her, because why would she then put it in the floor, right?
I don't think we're likely to find out much else here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go over to her, and I'm gonna give her. I'm gonna go ahead and just give her a gold.
Her eyes go wide. Thank you.
I think you've been through enough, and I think, dream or not, for your own safety, it's probably best if you forget that we were here.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Take out 4 more gold.
She just sort of like goes wide-eyed and mute.
You give her a heart attack.
Just try to take care of yourself for a little bit.
She nods, and you can almost see the wheels turning in her head of what she can do with 5 gold.
Probably move out of the mud tub world with that.
Forever. Be
The
free.
idea that Guild also looks like he's poor as shit.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I think that's why she's just like, where did you get this? Like.
Yeah, well, it's a combo of where did you get this? You're giving this to me. Oh my god, I think I could just move.
Yeah.
Like, even if I move into a hut in the forest, I'm better off than here. So yeah, she just sort of nods.
The dash or something.
And like, she tries to say thank you, but like she has gone mute from shock and is just like staring at Gold.
Just gonna give her a little smile and head out.
Just kind of give Guild just kind of pat her on the shoulder and just be like, it's okay.
You are the one of legend, the altruist.
Guild.
You are the
Walking out
traveler.
of the house. Cyrillus just says out loud to herself, "Gold helps people not look pathetic."
That is
See?
Fucking love
Now you're
Cyrillus.
getting it.
accurate use of that word.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
All right.
We'll have you acclimated to the city anytime now.
Like, an astute observation.
So you head out. Are you gonna head to one of the places where you didn't take the circlets, or are you?
I think we should talk that over.
Okay.
Yeah. Just. Did anything about that sound at all familiar to anyone? Ping anything in the
Oh, that's bonkers shit.
I mean,
That was
aside from that,
completely off the wall.
Would that be
I mean, I
like
will
arcane?
roll for
Yeah, I
it.
would roll
I
for
will
it.
certainly roll for it.
like
Can
fairy
I-
tale sort of thing. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I guess if it's, I mean, yeah,
Where is it?
thinking along fairy tale lines of like,
Yeah.
if it from a story or something, I guess Fleur could roll. I
I
feel
mean,
like that's
that
the only
sounds
way
like
Fleur might know
fairy
something.
tale.
Oh
Are there
my
any
God,
stories in
I'll
general
do
people go
that.
into dreams like that?
Yeah.
Fleur doesn't know.
Or crazy
what
cat
would
lady
you
in your
roll?
dreams?
What would we roll for?
Uh, probably history, I'd guess, since you're trying to think of like any stories or.
Yeah.
Fleur rolled like
Mm.
16.
Can I
History.
use my Hunter's Bane to see if it tracks for anything that seems Fae, Fiend, or Undead related? It seems kind
Yeah, I
of
was.
I mean,
I
it
was
seems
kind
kinda
of
fey.
Seems kind of
thinking
fey, yeah.
that lines as well, which I have
Hmm.
favorite enemy.
I only got a 6, so.
Well,
Aside from
you have
that,
no
generally
idea.
sounds like weird fairy tale shenanigans. Talking cats and old ladies and.
I need to share this because I'm angry.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to roll the 2d20s from that nice, lovely
Oh,
set.
did you get bad rolls?
Did they both
from
roll
them?
ones?
No!
Okay.
Please forgive the cat hair in my tray because I have a cat.
That's how it is with cats.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Ah, those are pretty.
Oh.
Ah, those are
So
super
that-
pretty though. I love those colors.
Big 7.
Aw.
What's a cat?
Cyrillus?
What am I adding to it?
Probably history. Unless you can think of an argument for adding something else. I will.
11.
Okay. Bess, Fleur got a 16.
16, yeah.
Did Terwin or Esri roll?
I rolled 22.
22? Terwin?
No,
No. Okay, you just think it's weird shit.
it's just weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Fleur and Esri, there are stories about talking cats. That's not an unusual element in a fairy tale. There are also stories about kind old women that help lost travelers. So both of these things are elements that could be found in fairy tales. Fleur, that's about all you
Yeah.
know.
And that's about all that I was expecting was like, does this sound like,
Oh,
I
fuck.
heard that in a story once? That's
Yeah.
bad.
Okay.
Every
I also just made sure I rolled with disadvantage because I'm probably exhausted a bit, and
Yes,
that was a
you
low
are
roll,
exhausted.
luckily. So
I mean, you are a wizard, so you do have high intelligence. So Esri, you have heard some stories, not so much in the in like the fairy tale realm. I mean, they contribute to fairy tales, but it's not like, oh, this is this fairy tale. Of some kind of dream cat. You think you've heard the phrase, the cats of Ulthar?
so
That might actually be a real you've heard it in stories, but maybe it's a real thing. Maybe there are these dream cats.
Ulthar? Ulthar? Or
Ulthar, yes.
yeah.
The old woman also seems to fit into a similar vein. This old grandmotherly woman that sometimes people meet in their dreams. What stories you've heard of her say that she is very good at getting people out of bad situations in their dreams. And yeah, no, she's kind but kind of stern, which would line up with the very strict but means well description. And she's just, you've only ever heard her referred to as the grandmother, nothing more, no name. That's about all you get. Like, no more real specifics than that. Just like, oh, no, this might actually be a thing. Like, I might have heard about this.
Oh, that's exciting. I didn't think the Cats of Ulthar might actually be a thing.
The what?
Cats of Ulthar. You've never heard that? The stories?
No.
They're...
I've heard of them Neon
For
stories.
those who haven't, I mean, I think I've heard of it. I don't
when
remember.
I was a kid.
Do you remember it? Care to enlighten us? Not that I'm going to force her to tell an entire fairy tale, but you know.
I think that just means it's time for another trip to the library.
Just just a grin at that. A little bit of like the starry-eyed, but they're all still glazed over because she's fucking tired. But she'll at least explain what she knows about the Cats of Ulthar. Less story and more like just potential rumor, but the basis for a lot of stories. And then the stuff about the grandmother. So it tracks at least.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. A trip to the library would not go amiss for learning more, especially since we have a lead now.
Well, do we want to check in with the other houses? Some of the other people real quick?
I think a really bad idea.
If you're thinking that's... Okay, so this circlet thing was in the house. Woman got conked out. Remove the circlet, woman wakes up. That means that there's how many other people that are affected by this?
That we know of?
At least 4.
4 that we know of.
So,
actually,
I think... Alright, I said it's a bad idea, but if we go grab all these circlets, wake everybody up, someone's gonna notice, right? That's why we didn't do it in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point...
So if we do it, and we hang out and see who shows up to investigate...
Wait, what?
You're trying to create bait.
Basically.
I mean, at the very least, we can get these people out of these comas.
Out in the open. Yeah.
Because they're going to... Well, yeah, I mean... Someone did this.
They might die because of the bad things.
I'm gonna pull out an apple. I mean, I even brought stakeout snacks.
Like, okay, as I like reach into my pockets and pull out like a bacon, some pastry, a bagel. Like,
I should have known I couldn't compete with halfling.
Did you bring enough to share? I mean, come on.
Did you bring enough
you're
for the
thinking
class?
of 5 gold, but you're not going to bring enough food for everybody.
I'm not. I was forward thinking enough to grab something. It's not my fault if you didn't. Anyway,
I always grab stuff.
What are we staking out exactly?
Run
this by me again.
Mud top.
So basically, I'm thinking we wake everybody up and then see who shows up to figure out why they're awake.
I certainly
do
wouldn't
we
mind.
know that they're coming back? That could be like days that we're just sitting and waiting. Like,
What do we do then? When
how do we know
find
they
them?
even can tell when they're awake?
Something like this, you keep an eye on. You don't just set this and
Yeah.
forget about it.
I mean, I agree. Waking the people up is not a bad idea at all. I think we should probably,
I
but
mean, it's
If someone
yeah,
comes
well,
poking around your magical experiment,
you wanna.
you're gonna
gonna
find
come-
out what happens.
Yeah,
'Cause-
that's true.
Nobody does this, puts in this amount of work
And then just
because
release
it's
it.
fun.
Yeah.
Like
They're
someone
they're trying to
somewhere is
figure out
going
something.
to right and sticking a big old wrench into these plans.
What?
And I'm pretty sure I also found where all of them were hidden last time, so it's just a matter of grabbing them
Actually,
at this
What's
point.
not fun about
Out of
writing?
curiosity, with locate object, if I do that with like trying to find one of these circlets, would I have to be looking for?
one? I think.
Would just find the nearest one.
Yeah, it would find the nearest
Because they're all
one,
the
and
same.
yeah.
Because I just want to see if there are any we don't know of.
I mean,
I
if
think
we're carrying one,
Because with that
wouldn't it
spell,
find that
unless
one?
you are looking for a specific one, it just finds
Yeah.
the nearest thing that matches that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd have to like take the circle you have, as
Yeah.
Brendan just pointed out, put it somewhere else so it's not pinging
Yeah.
you.
So it's not pinging constantly.
Yeah, that.
Well, is there a way to frame the spell in such a way? Because like, here's the question: is this one still is the one that we have still
It is.
active, for lack of a better term,
That's a good question.
or
I'm
is
gonna
it
pull
like
it out and let Terwin
disabled?
look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, we actually did a whole identify. So does that
Yeah,
mean
I
that
mean,
it's
I
it?
can
So from what you got from the
do-
identification, when it is activated, it sits sort of dormant until conditions are correct, and then it
Right.
does its thing,
Mhm.
and then it is inactive for purposes of like opening rift.
So it's no longer. So does it still have a magical aura?
I mean, it's still a magical item. So if you do
Okay.
detect magic, you'll
Okay.
still see that it's magic.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to say,
Right.
yeah, if I do a
Because
detect
you can
magic
still
on
speak,
it with that.
you can speak the command word and reset
Mhm.
it. So it's not like it's
So
a
it's
one-time
resettable.
one
It's not dead. It's just.
It's not. It's It's just inactive
Okay.
until you speak the command word.
Okay.
Well, right. So yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, anyone happen to be carrying around an extra dimensional space?
Yeah. So do we have a bag of holding?
I
don't know.
have a bag of
We have
animals.
a bag of tricks, yeah, which I don't think is the same.
I think we already previously
We could
determined.
try.
I'm
can
willing to try.
certainly-
While I haven't had a formal wizardly education,
That makes two of us.
I have been the rules around the usage of extraplanar spaces was firmly impressed upon me.
I'm gonna look at Ezri while I'm holding the circlet, pull out the bag of tricks in my other hand. Ezri,
Hmm?
is this? You think this is
This
gonna
a bad
blow up if I
idea?
stick it in here?
I'm gonna start like slowly just walking away.
Back
Ezra,
up.
roll
what
me
is
an
that thing over
intelligence
there?
check.
Back
Intelligent
up
check
a couple feet.
with disadvantage because I'm exhausted. I don't know.
Yeah, with disadvantage because you're exhausted.
Okay. So non-proficiency.
Hi,
Uh,
Mona.
so
I don't
just
think you have any reason that you would have special
Hi.
knowledge of
Yes, I
this.
see you.
okay. So it would
What do you
be
want? Got food there.
15.
You suspect it might not be a good idea. You don't know for sure. You've never heard of anyone trying.
Things come out of
Dimensional
bags of tricks.
space.
Probably
Nobody knows what happens
not
when you put
the
things
best
in.
idea. Sometimes some of the older wizards would say that the ones that do that and have the consequences generally are known to be fucking around and finding out.
That's a phrase.
Put them both away separately. Actually, no, I'm gonna stop with the bag of tricks. I'm gonna toss it to Cyrillus. I just threw the bag of tricks at you.
Yes, I know. That's her reaction.
Oh. You seem to like it. You can hold on to it.
Hi, kitty.
For now.
She looks a little embarrassed, not quite sure what to do.
Hi, cat.
It's the animal bag, so
Oh yeah, she knows.
use it carefully.
Dumps it.
Yeah. You can pull out up to 3 a day. Pretty sure it's up to 3.
Yeah, it's
I
up to
think
3.
so, yeah.
What color was it?
Tan.
Okay. Add to inventory.
I'm gonna miss that bag. But for
Don't
now,
worry.
you have
now.
it for
You
now.
will see it. I am sure.
Yeah.
All right. So, what are you going to try to do? Are you going to try to get rid of this one and locate object, or are you just going to go to one of the other houses?
Let's just
Maybe collect all of them so that
Ooh, a
we don't
tiger.
ping on them.
Yeah.
We'll then remove all of them to a neutral location,
I thought
then
we were.
maybe search.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I can
Remove
always
thought we
come
were
back
using
later.
this to find them so we could remove
No.
them. Am I confused?
We know where four other ones are.
Oh.
Yeah, I already
So-
found them.
So
yeah.
then what are we using this
Hey.
spell for? Where the rest of them are?
See if
See
there's
if
any
there are
others.
any others we
Oh.
don't know about.
Well then, yes, I think we should get rid of the ones we know about.
Yeah.
And yeah, take them away, and then come back and.
So we're fine with
I can
this.
come back
We're
and-
actually doing this.
I guess.
I mean,
Let's
I
go.
think we should at least take them away.
We're setting
Yeah.
a trap.
Yes.
Kind of.
Pretty much.
Basically.
Yeah, that's actually a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to take some people's coin and offer them an entertaining evening in exchange for their coin. It's a game. It's an illusion. This is going so far and above beyond just taking some people's coin. This isn't a con. This isn't right.
Yeah.
You're implying
No,
that a con is
I'm
right.
with.
This
There's
is
a level.
It's
You know, there's a
complicated.
line.
It just is like, I don't follow this logic.
this is essentially
Line, and this is
I
clearly
mean, I don't
beyond
get
the
the
line.
comparison, but
there's
I
a
at least
line.
understand.
this is most
This crosses
probably
that line.
an assembly member fucking around and finding out.
This is yes. This is an assembly member fucking around to find out.
Fleur's like, the line, in my opinion, is in a very different place.
Yeah, she's like,
This
I
is
agree that this isn't right, but the line between what is right and not for
At
me
least-
is a little further away, apparently.
I mean, if the server's
I
assembly is just an right.
Well, the question is, are we
It's-
all waiting to see who shows up, or just a few of us gonna hang out here?
I
if we
think
all wait, it might be a little odd.
yeah.
also I don't think that everyone necessarily has the appropriate skill set to stake
Yeah.
out an environment. Some of us
Fleur
might
is not really equipped for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
You need someone who's patient and quiet and
Oh, so basically,
Observant?
this group's fucked.
Ezri's falling asleep again.
Be quiet.
Cyrillus
When
just
they-
raises her hand.
When
Yeah.
Actually,
that
you
one.
know, not
yeah,
bad.
Actually, you'd be a.
You do that
I mean-
animal thing.
She's a
Yeah.
hunter.
yeah, like this
Yeah,
is
she's a hunter
hunting.
and she can
This
But
is
be
what
can
this
she
is.
stake out all 4 places at once?
Yeah, this
No,
is
I
right
think
up.
they're likely to look at all of them.
I mean, if these people are wasting away and it's already been a few days, the sooner the better.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Some of them probably don't have much time left.
I know I want to see who shows up. This has my attention.
I don't know that I want to see who shows up, but I think we need to.
I mean, if whoever is staying, do any of you know how to like make a picture to like just if you see somebody, like, can you show us what they look like then?
I am going to minor illusion the girl from the house, because she's the first person to pop in my head.
I'm going to major image the girl from the house, and
There
now
we go.
she's talking and acting just like she was. Because
Between the two players, like, okay, so we're covered.
I can try and draw.
I mean, I literally was like, would Fleur even know that magic that exists? And I'm like, probably. But literally, I was like, would she ask, does anybody know how to, like, I don't know, draw a picture of them or something?
Right.
What kind of check would that be to try and draw a picture of what they
so
look
we get, like, the Mina drawing over here from Westcott.
Right.
Which, if you've seen Kuroshitsuji, you know what I mean by the Mina drawing.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he's good at drawing. I don't know. I haven't thought about that.
And then we have, the little image and the big image, and Fleur's like, okay, so we're covered. Like, just so that, you know, if you see something, because I don't think I would really help kind of situation.
All right.
But if you see somebody, you know, especially if it's around here, I at least, you know, if it's somebody that maybe I recognize, it would, you know, be good to be able to see them too. So.
All right, but last question. If this is someone that high up, what do we do with this? I mean,
be very careful.
Be careful.
No
Because
shit.
aren't we still assuming this is potentially what kind of is why Rickman disappeared?
But look, what I'm saying is, if we want something with them, they're going to be a hell of a lot harder to touch outside of here. If we're not looking to make this an ambush. I mean, I don't know. Is that even what we want? What is the goal?
Let's.
What are we doing?
We're finding floors.
Yes.
Fiance.
I mean, hey, we can always say or hope that, like, if Rickman got abducted by these people, if it's the same people, if it's all related, and
we get abducted,
and then we find Rickman, and we're like halfway there.
And then we're all stuck.
Well, not all of us, because we're not all going in.
Right.
But then the rest of us are stuck looking for all of you.
About splitting the party.
Yeah. I feel like if we at least find out who's behind this.
I will say try not to get abducted, Hannah.
Yeah. This is just a fact-finding mission.
Finding out who it is, but we're not trying to do anything with that.
We're not trying to do anything immediately. Once we know who it is, we can go from there. We can make a better plan when we know what we're dealing with.
Let's go raid some houses.
We think we know what we're dealing with because it's most probably assembly. So at least that part.
Yeah, if we can confirm that it's assembly, that'll not make me feel any better about the situation. But
what type of prey is assembly?
The deadliest game.
People.
The deadliest game.
So think what would happen if someone gave Esri and me more money than we knew what to do with and authority over a lot of other people. Now, think of a group that's like 4 times as many of Esri and me. That's the assembly.
That sounds half bad, half good.
Does Cyrilus look a little confused at all of that?
Which half?
I mean, it's Cyrilus.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like if Cyrilus has picked up on the fact that, or if Flair's picked up on the fact that Cyrilus doesn't always have the best opinion of Terwin, I feel like Flair's just going to lean over and be like, imagine an organization where everybody's Terwin and they only care about themselves.
The dagger is out.
I mean, I think you'd have to have like
in the best way, meaning that you don't only care about yourself.
I'm going to put a hand on her shoulder. Maybe we don't fight them just yet.
Well, I mean, if you're hunting something, you don't walk up to it. You watch it, you observe it,
Yeah.
and then you pounce when it's least expecting it.
Like the cat with the laser.
You trap it and
Yeah.
stab it
Yep,
before it
Mr.
can fight back.
Terwin, you probably shouldn't
Exactly.
be
Yes.
hunter-splaining
Although,
to the
Oh,
ranger.
I'm
oh boy,
What?
just trapping and stabbing a member of the Cerberus Assembly. Oh boy.
I mean,
You're lucky I don't have snare prepared today. Because she would totally snare one and then immediately attack.
I'm just gonna say that guild's ranger levels are specifically hunter, so that's funny. Right there with you.
where's the nearest house?
Yes,
no
I guess we'll
problem.
start
You
with
can-
the yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
lead the
gather
way.
They got them
Yeah.
now.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to where I found them all because I think I
Guild-
specifically located all of them.
Yeah, Guild and Westcott can lead
Yeah.
you from house to house. In most of the houses, the people are still
Yeah, yeah.
asleep.
So yeah, how do the people look?
So it's interesting, and you noticed this last time you were here. They're not quite like deteriorating the same way you would have expected someone like that was in a normal coma to deteriorate. Which isn't to say like they aren't losing weight, but it's not nearly as intense. You do remember that last time you were here, there were at least some people who were trying to sort of like pour broth down their throats and things to make sure they got some food. But even then, like the degree to which you would expect them to look like emaciated and barely alive, they're all pretty emaciated and barely alive, but that's not out of character for the Mud Top Ward.
Yeah.
So you in the first house you reach, there was a couple that were both asleep. And they are still there and asleep. Guild, it doesn't take you long to find where you spotted the circlet and extract that if that's what you want to do.
Please.
As you recall, last time, well, you don't know how quickly she woke up after you removed the circlet. It didn't happen while you were there, but then the circlet was still in the house. Westcott, you suspect it's not like really immediate because you suspect that if it was that quick, you would have heard from Lila already. So it may be one of those things where maybe removing the circlet, and this is what you have so far, maybe removing the circlet helps, but isn't the perfect answer.
Yeah.
Right? It's not an instant fix. And you continue through the next house. Similarly, there's someone asleep. You remove this. You again. You know where it is. I'm not going to make you try to do any unless you want to do something specific in these houses. You go through the fourth house. There's a body in that bed. It's not breathing.
Oh
no.
It is or isn't?
no.
It's not.
Yeah.
Oh.
How long does it look like they've been
I say
dead?
yeah. Can I get an idea of how long it looks like it's?
Medicine check.
Can I?
Are they cold?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can help.
Can I help? Can I get advantage?
Yes. Guild can help.
Take that 14 for a 21.
They're cold. They didn't just die like right before you came in.
That would have sucked.
Yeah.
Like they would have been fine if we got in here 5 minutes sooner.
You did. you take
I mean,
a
it's still
couple minutes to invest, to like sort of inspect and try to get what information you can, and you would guess they died probably sometime last night. Maybe fairly late. So, late night, early morning type situation. No one has been by yet and found them. But given where this is, you wouldn't expect them to find them immediately unless they were coming to like try to feed them or something.
So these people aren't dying of hunger. You thinking something in the dream did this?
Maybe. I mean, it doesn't look like there's any kind
right?
of
Say bad things.
There's like no signs of
no
or trauma or anything.
No,
and they didn't.
Looks like they died in their sleep.
And it doesn't seem that they just starved, right?
Right. Yeah. No. And that would align with what you saw of people feeding them some broth.
Yeah.
At least in one of the houses, you saw someone come in and give them some broth, like pour it down their throat and sort of massage it into them. There are no marks that look like they would kill somebody. I mean, there are marks because this is not a person who has lived an easy life.
Yeah.
But
but
none
it's
of
not
these,
like, there's a stab wound in the.
Yeah, there's no major wounds. They're like, there's nothing that is indicative of something you would immediately say, oh, that's the cause of death.
Yeah.
As far as you can tell, they died in their sleep. And if you didn't know they were in a coma, you might, with a weird dream going on, you'd probably suspect it was like natural causes.
Others, yeah.
This is a SAO.
Maybe there is something to that whole you die in your dream, you die in real life, at least in this situation.
I'm still gonna see if there's a circlet there and remove it, regardless.
Yeah, the circlet is still there and you can remove it. You move to the last house.
That'd be a good way to assassinate somebody. Thought. Anyway.
That would be a good way to assassinate somebody.
A good way to assassinate somebody.
You move to the last house, and luckily there is not another dead body there. That person is also asleep.
Okay.
I mean, maybe that's what this is about.
Maybe.
Not for these people, but testing ground.
Testing ground to see if this could be a...
That's with what you said about these people, right?
Yeah. And, with the whole... There's a war on the horizon. Anyway.
I don't like this place. I'm gonna pull out the...
Why do you think I left?
Just gonna take the collection of circlets. Alright, who's taking them? Hand them to Ezri.
Heavy for you, Ezra, but you can carry them. You get all of them
Ezra's
together.
stronger than I am.
Yeah.
What's your strength?
Yeah.
7.
Okay, like one stronger than you.
I mean,
oh no.
If that's the case,
yeah.
Fleur strength is
I was just thinking that there's a difference between a circlet and a ring then in that case, because like rings are generally carryable.
I mean, I'm assuming we didn't come in with Daisy. Otherwise, I would say, just problem on Daisy.
It's sort of in size. It's sort of between a circle. Yeah, you're not coming with Daisy because that would have been really obvious.
Yeah.
It's but somewhat sort of size-wise. It's sort of between what you'd think about like a traditional circlet and what Kristen showed with her hands is about right.
It's like an arm, kind of like an upper arm. Sort of.
Like an upper arm band or something like
arm
that.
bangle, yeah.
So it's like that's why it's like circlet ring.
Okay.
It's only really called ring because it's round.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more describing the shape than the actual physical function.
Be that heavy then.
So, but I mean, you know, Esri doesn't necessarily have to carry all of them either. Like,
So I
others
would
who are
offer
not
to carry
staying can help. Because I'm assuming that the idea is you're going to take these away.
And
You're
then
going to split the
guess
party.
the group
Is that the plan?
the group that's gonna stay and stake it out will
Yeah.
stay, and then the
Yeah,
rest will
Fleur is
take
not
the
staying,
circles.
so she'll help carry him out.
Sneaky,
Esri.
sneaky.
Sneaky.
So
is
who
it is everybody but Fleur and Esri staying then? Which is fine.
Is Terwin?
I didn't think Terwin
Oh.
was.
I don't think Terwin's
No, I would be staying.
Okay,
I
you are.
want to. If someone shows up, I want to know who they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like technically Esri does too, but she's also very tired.
Yeah.
She could
Right.
probably
Esri
be
goes
quiet
to-
and
Fleur is like
Yeah, she brings it up. Westcott will be like, no.
Fleur is good
Go
for
back
the
to the inn and go to
fighting
bed.
part. And like she can be stealthy, I guess, but like I mean, Fleur has no real reason to think like she would be an ideal candidate for a stakeout. Like that
then-
just doesn't really sound fun to her either. So she will go back with Esri and
then
they will sleep.
How long
Mr.
do
Terwin?
you think this is gonna take?
if you're staying,
mean,
she's gonna think for a bit and then eventually like unhook Grim from a side and hold it out to Terwin. Could you keep Grim with you then?
Will you
I-
be okay without him?
Are
He can learn for both of
you
us.
sure? Okay. I like gingerly take like. Okay.
Yeah, you be good for Mr. Terwin, but I know you will.
Good. I
The
should
book
be
is
used to it by
going
now.
to be very naughty.
We don't know how much of a connection whoever put these here has to them.
Yeah.
So we don't know if they have to come back to even check in on them, or if they're
True.
going to know that they moved. So Fleur, I would say, just maybe if Esri's going to have those things on her, keep her in
keep an eye
earshot,
on her.
or even.
I mean, if it's just the two of us going back, I'm assuming like Fleur will probably just stay in the same room as
Stay in the
Esri
room,
for
yeah.
the night.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. And yeah, especially just given
Right.
circumstances, it seems like the better option. So yeah, I was already kind of thinking that.
Okay. And I mean, we may have to wait.
It might
Yeah.
be
A
a
couple
couple of
nights.
hours, or it might be a couple of days.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Which house we want to post up at?
I mean, we could each watch different ones. Do we have ways
true.
of messaging
Yeah,
one
we-
another?
I don't
Not
think we do.
exactly the inclined type. Nothing like that.
Yeah, I do not have
The dead
like
one.
What's Cyrilus?
But
that. That's actually not a bad idea.
The
Maybe
dead
Mhm.
one.
post
the-
up at that house. Yeah, because if. Yeah.
I mean,
They
yeah.
will actually come check.
They may actually come check that. Yeah.
See why they
Mhm.
died.
I was
see
gonna say, I thought it was weird that there was somebody dead that had not just died, and I was like, did the person doing this not notice
They may
that
just
they
not have gotten a
died?
chance to come check on it yet.
But yeah,
hiring those for the night.
You don't know for sure what killed them or how they died.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you don't know whether it was a death in control of the person who
That's
did
true,
this
yeah.
or just a death.
Or just.
Yeah.
But either
That's a
way.
good idea.
Yeah.
it's more than what we could get. It's a place to start, at the very least.
I'd say
And
the
right-
odds are.
Right about then, my disguise self would drop. Fuck. Fleur, I think.
Do you want my hat?
Actually, that's not a bad idea. I'd like to be a little more inconspicuous.
Yeah. You'll have to attune to it, but
That's
yeah,
fine.
I will.
I'll borrow that.
Yeah, I'll unattune to that temporarily, and I'll just leave it in my inventory. But yeah, we'll say you've got.
I'm not going to put it in my inventory, but I will remember that I'm attuned to a second thing.
Write it down.
I am. Yeah.
So this seems like you're, Fleur and Ezri are about to leave. Everyone else is about to stake out. This seems like a good place to stop for the night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's entirely possible we could get into, we may or may not get into something that takes a lot more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I am very tired, and
Yes.
Haku is
Yeah.
very full of it at
I
this
was
point.
gonna say,
Right.
that being said, I actually
do.
am not at Crash Point yet, so if people want to play a little bit of cards, I would be down
I
for
could
that.
play cards. I just don't want to get into deeper game.
Yeah, no,
So-
I absolutely agree that, yeah, we are at kind of a point of like,
Yeah.
well, this could actually be a while. And yeah.
Yeah.
And since,
Well,
yeah,
that's
cards
like,
ended
I was
up
just
not
like, if
working
we're
out, then
staking out, I mean, I know like between 2 or 3 of us, we have Pass Without a Trace, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah, I've got Pass
So-
Without a. I think
rotate
Westcott and
around.
Gorillas both have Pass Without a Trace.
Yeah. And we
Yeah,
both have
this
it
is
prepared
this is the
all
party
the
that
time.
like has
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
of it.
I
Yeah, 'cause
have
that's a domain spell for me. So.
alarm, so I can cast
that's-
alarm
that's
inside
good.
the house, so that if
And
someone
that's
goes directly
that's
in
good.
without us
Right.
looking, I will
Damn
know.
Yeah.
We could.
Cast-
There you
I've
go.
got it as well, so we could.
Yeah.
And I
We
am
could do it
pretty
on
sure that
multiple
most of these houses
Yes.
are not
Within.
too large.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we could cast alarm overnight and stake out one place and have the alarms,
Yeah.
but we'd
Have the
have to
alarm
be in
Yes.
certain. As long as we're within a mile, and I'm fairly
Yeah.
certain that everything is. Yeah.
Yeah, this is not a huge area that you
Yeah.
identified. So
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Let's. Is it concentration? It's
Um,
not.
Just
It's not.
Just-
Yeah, I
no,
don't
you
think
can just
alarm is
keep-
concentration.
yeah,
Can you
and
cast
with
more than
between
one?
the two of us, yeah, it's not
I'm-
concentration.
I can alarm 3 houses myself. I don't use my
Right.
spells for anything else.
I
I'll do
can
it.
cast it as a ritual, so we don't
Okay.
even you don't even need to use
Yeah.
your spell slots.
Perfect.
One thing though is, do we want to, just for record keeping purposes, so we can take a note for the next game? Do we
Mhm.
want to walk around doing locate object, since that was kind of the point of sending the
Yeah.
rings back
Yeah.
with Esri and Fleur
Do
first?
that real
So
quick.
do that first, then we
Yeah.
do the stakeout.
Then we do the just to
Okay.
make sure
So for
there
next
aren't
time-
any we don't know
Yes.
about. Yeah.
Right.
Um,
And then remove what we can, and then do the stakeout.
Yep, you guys can certainly do that.
Yeah.
I'm taking notes on exactly everything we're preparing.
Yeah. Likewise.
I have some stuff that'll be better, like in the moment. Like I have invisibility and enhanceability.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I can
sure.
also go invisible, but for now I'm just gonna keep up the dirty human disguise that I've had on.
I just have like my old clothes that are just
Yeah.
travel worn. They're not stained, but like there's patches in the
Yeah.
elbows. It's really threadbare. Yeah.
I don't think Westcott is not disguising himself particularly, but that's because he doesn't.
Been here.
He's been here. He's not particularly out
Yeah.
of place here.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like people wouldn't be like, why are you here? Because if he's
Yeah.
been there before, like, yeah, he might be recognized maybe, but also didn't they ask him
Yeah.
to come?
Yeah, they they might
So,
take
like-
notice of him being there.
Yeah.
but-
Cerilus may just pick up a bit more like dead grass and mud and like.
Oh yeah, you fit right in.
Yeah.
Is she going all like camo and just like
I mean, not fully, but she's just at least working.
She just
it
makes
in.
herself a ghillie suit and just.
That's my secret cap. I'm always in a ghillie suit.
literally, you know?
No, what you doing?
All right, so good game, guys.
It
Yay.
was. I forgot how much fun this
Yeah.
party is, you guys.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I love them. I cannot believe everybody ran with the guild's terrible idea. I'm so happy.
It's
too
not-
tired to consider anything that might not be might not be a good idea.
It's a terrible idea, but it's also not the worst idea.
Yeah,
If you can't do something smart, do something good.
Yeah.
We also have no other options.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
all right.
You know, we could investigate the candles where he actually might have
Yeah,
disappeared.
Yeah.
We could also have Esri and Fleur do that.
What?
Have Esri and Fleur
Mm.
investigate the candles
Yeah,
while
have
we're
Fleur
sticking
go
out the
clean
mud
up
top.
and then go
Candles?
see the
Oh,
candles.
I thought
Yeah.
you meant like the candles as in like
Right.
objects, and I was like,
No, yeah. As in, yeah, have Esri and Fleur go clean themselves up and then go investigate the candles.
yeah, that could work.
I might have needed a Grim for that.
Well, we can just, if you guys decide you want to do that, you could have decided it before you gave Grim to Terwin. So
Okay.
we could retcon you giving Grim to Terwin
Right.
if you decide, oh yes, let's send these two to do this.
And I was going to see if I could actually have a conversation with him. Would he talk to me?
Yeah.
Probably
right.
not.
Have a good night, everybody. I got to take off.
Night.
Uh,
Oh.
Good night.
Night.
Hi, chat. Thank you so much for joining us.
Kristen,
What?
Did you see what Brendan just
what
posted?
even-
Team channel.
In the what?
Ew. I will be back tomorrow night, most probably, for some more Higurashi Nakakoroni. Not too many tonight. Please just go out, find your favorite streamer, and send them some love. But until next time, you all stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Bye-bye!
I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral dice holder. I'm proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral dice holder. I'm proud to be in whatever sitch, like singing on Twitch or playing D&D. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral dice holder. You may call me obsessive, but I just border on being a collector and being a dragon that sits atop my treasure. That's so shiny. I'm a badass.